This Impact Wrestling review was brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Every time you drink it, a terrorist dies. Okay, first off, I'm sorry the live stream video didn't happen on Wednesday. I was all set to do it, but I had some technical problems. My laptop wouldn't cooperate for some reason. I'll do more live stream vids once I figure out what the problem is there, but for now, they're on hold. You see what I just did there? I gave you an explanation. It was a simple explanation, a logical explanation. It made sense, and this is the important part, it actually explained something. Why couldn't you do that, Taz? So Taz's explanation for why he joined the Aces and Eights last week was, why wouldn't he? That was it. That's what he offered up here. Why wouldn't I want to join the Aces and Eights? Oh, I don't know, Taz. Maybe because they can't stop losing matches? Because they're a glorified job squad? Because this faction is a sinking ship and everyone knows it?
You guys suck.
Everyone except Taz, apparently. Seriously, TNA writers, if you were going to have all this build-up to a heel turn, you needed a better explanation than this. Taz mentions that the Aces and Eights want revenge on someone and talks about some kind of mysterious higher power that they're all following, which I assume is the leader or the president of the group, but who the hell really knows? I guess that qualifies as new information, technically, but after 7 months of this godforsaken angle, shouldn't we know more than this by now? Shouldn't we be getting more than these cryptic little hints? TNA, the mystery of the Aces and Eights is no longer interesting. This has been stretched out way too fucking long. Just get to the point already, for the love of God!
This whole show is ridiculous!
Well, it sure didn't take Taz very long to get back to the announce booth. And anyone who was hoping that the angle last week was done to get Taz out of the announce booth, believe me, I sympathize. This was bad. This was almost Booker T announcing SmackDown bad. I mean, look, I wasn't in love with Taz's commentary before, but now with this heel turn, it's so much worse. So much worse. The commentary was very uneven all night. Sometimes Taz was calling the show like he would normally. Sometimes he was being heelish. And other times he was being so overly heelish that it just became distracting. Especially when he was arguing with Kennelly and Tenay instead of, you know, actually doing what he was supposed to do and calling the fucking show.
Silence!
Exactly. Watching the show with the sound muted would have been much preferable to this. So Velvet Sky got her title match against Tara this week. The match was what it was. I think we all pretty much knew what to expect here because, well, we've already seen this match before a number of times, which is a constant problem with the knockouts these days. And for me personally, unless they're giving me a matchup that I haven't seen yet, then I'm really just not that interested in the knockouts right now. At this point, I'm just waiting for them to sign some new female talent. Until then, I really don't care that much. And on that note, some of you may not be aware of this, but at the Gut Check seminar in Nottingham this past Thursday, TNA had Alpha Female, Shauna, and Nikki Storm try out. Holy shit, TNA. I don't ask for much from you. I really don't. But I'm asking for this. Those three could bring the knockout roster back up to the level it was at in 2008. That's some of the best female talent in the United Kingdom right there. You need to sign these women, and you need to do it now. Now, I can understand Alpha Female not being everybody's cup of tea. I'm kind of on the fence with her myself. But Shauna and Nikki Storm, I don't see how in the blue hell you can pass on either of them. Those are no-brainers in my opinion. TNA, you need new female talent badly, and this is about as good as it gets. Sign them. Please. Yes! Joseph Park is going to challenge someone on Open Fight Night next week, and this time he's going to get that W, by God.
Yes! 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 Yes!
I love Joseph Park. I love everything he does. Another great promo from him. Basically just some simple hype for when they do the show in the UK next week. It was effective, and it's good that they're hyping that show up like the big deal it should be. We had an X Division tag team match with Bob Van Dam and Christian York versus Kenny King and Zema Ion, who's finally back on TV. Ion steals the pin on York after Kenny King laid him out, so it looks like they may be incorporating him into this feud now. Good. I was hoping they'd do that. Aside from the fact that I've been underwhelmed by Christian York so far, I've been wanting them to make more use out of the X Division roster, and if that's what this is about, I'm all for it. And I like Zema Ion a lot. I like his personality. It sucked that he just disappeared after he lost the title to Van Dam, so it's good that they're getting him back in the mix now, especially if Jesse Sorensen is returning in the not-too-distant future. Bully Ray took some time out from his honeymoon sexcapades with Brooke Hogan to let the Aces and Eights know that he's coming after them for ruining their wedding. But apparently he can't do anything about that until Hogan lifts his suspension.
Oh, what a bunch of bull.
Really? The suspension is still a thing? So, even though Bully Ray got his entrance music played, got TV time in the ring, got a live mic, got to cut a promo, we're supposed to believe that he's still suspended. TNA, how stupid do you think we are? This is as asinine as when John Cena got fired by Wade Barrett and yet still had cameras following him around on Raw every fucking week. This is bullshit. If he was suspended, he wouldn't be on the show, period. And don't fucking tell me that the suspension only applies to wrestling, okay? Because they contradicted that on the first night when Hogan sent Bully home when he suspended him in the first place. If it only applied to wrestling, Bully wouldn't have had to leave that night. Just saying. Austin Aries and Bobby Roode cannot win the tag team titles soon enough. These guys are fucking amazing together. No joke, if TNA did an Impact episode that was nothing but pre-tapes of Aries and Roode, I would watch that and I would love every second of it. It would be the greatest Impact ever. Their segments are right up there with Bad Influences segments. They're that good. They're working together because they still have the same goals, but they still hate each other's guts, and they're still trying to one-up each other at every turn. And they're both trying to get out of wrestling Hernandez. And who could blame him, really? Who could blame him? I sure as hell wouldn't want to wrestle Hernandez. He damn near broke Joey Ryan's neck at Genesis. So Roode faces Hernandez. Aries helps him win, and then they're arguing over who really beat Hernandez. Whether Roode beat him alone or whether Aries helped him. Oh my God. These two are comedy gold right now. Wet dream team for the fucking win. Kurt Angle confronts Ken Anderson to set up a cage match for next week's Impact, and I'm of two minds about this one. I thought the setup itself was nicely done, and TNA have a history of announcing matches like this in very underwhelming fashion, and that's if they get announced at all, which is not always the case. But here they hyped it a week out, both guys were fired up, Angle made the announcement look like a big deal, and it's a rematch from their Lockdown match from 2010, which was fantastic. So that was all good. On the other hand, this really feels like a case of hot-shotting something for no other reason than to book a big cage match for the UK tour. That's really the only justification there is. And Anderson has been off TV for quite a while, only making sporadic appearances in which he was jobbing more often than not. He just recently returned in a way that wasn't eventful or exciting in the least, really hasn't done anything worth talking about since he's been back, and has given no indication that he's going to in the future. And now we're supposed to think that this match with Kurt next week is a big deal?
This whole show violates everything about my journalistic integrity.
Sorry, TNA, it doesn't work like that. You can't treat Anderson like a non-entity for as long as you did, then throw him into a match like this and expect me to be excited. And while the idea of a Lockdown 2010 rematch is enticing, that match was the culmination of a really hot feud, and both guys were a lot more relevant then than they are now. I mean, this match is right smack in the middle of one of the worst written, most interminably boring storylines in recent memory, and was clearly thrown together for no other reason than to just draw good attendance at the arena, not because it makes sense to book it from a creative standpoint. So, it might be a great match. Some people out there might call it a big match or a money match, but will I care about it? The way I feel right now, probably not. Jeff Hardy versus Christopher Daniels for the world title was our main event, and while I never believed for 1 second that Daniels would win the title, it was a terrific match, and goddammit, Daniels so deserved to be in a big main event spot like this, being competitive with Jeff Hardy. If anyone deserved that, it was Christopher Daniels. Hardy wins, of course, but Daniels looked great in defeat, and realistically, that was the best we could have hoped for. Then Taz cuts a promo to distract Hardy, and one of the Aces and Eights clips the back of his knee with one weak-looking hammer shot, and then runs for his life out of the arena like he's being chased by an angry bear. And that, believe it or not, is how they wrote Jeff Hardy off the UK tour. Holy shit, that's lame. I understand advertising Jeff Hardy for the UK tour even if you weren't 100% sure that he was going to be able to go. That's just business, I get that. But you had to know that there was a possibility that he wouldn't be able to. And you really couldn't think of a better way to write him off than that? The Aces and Eights have been booked to be completely incompetent, haven't been able to do anything right except ruin a wedding. God knows they haven't been able to win matches, and one of these masked jobbers hits Hardy with one weak-looking shot to his knee one time, and that's enough to take Hardy out for the next month? TNA, that sucks. I'm sorry, but if you really couldn't come up with something better than that, then I'm embarrassed for you. Plain and simple.
You people are fools!
Having said all that, I thought this episode on a whole was actually pretty decent. We got some story progression, maybe not a lot of it, but we got some. A great main event. There was some fair hype for the UK TV tapings, which I'm still really psyched about. Those shows came off great last year. And it looks like we're slowly making some headway with this Aces and Eights garbage. So, not without its problems, but this was not the worst Impact ever. Next week, Impact Wrestling emanates from the UK, so they're getting out of the Impact Zone for a month, and that's enough to put a smile on my face for a while. See you then.
That son of a bitch. Oh, that's it. That is it. This is bullshit. That stunt with the bank account was the last straw. No more fucking around. I have had it. I'm emailing you a new one. Use it next week. Phase 2 is going to happen, even if we have to make it happen ourselves. That little shit wants to play with fire? Well, I've got a goddamn can of napalm with his name on it.
So, Smokey, you and me still got a problem, huh? Well, I really hoped it wouldn't come to this, but so be it. Smokey, you don't scare me. So I'll tell you what. Bring it. Yeah, you heard that right. Come at me. Bring Precious. Bring the deuces and fours. Bring everything you've got. You stand paw-to-toe with me, you look me right in the eye, and then we'll see who blinks first! See, crap like this is why I'm a dog person.